Hi, Jason.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, Jason.
Right. Hi. So now we have to get into scale formation. Last class we discussed all the notes in music, right? And a few other things. Let's share.
On the notations, those small clarifications, could you help us with that?
Yeah, that's what. So what we'll do for a few moments. From here onwards, we've been doing notation in the last class. Yeah, just sort out all your doubts if you have anything regarding notation, notes in music, piano notes we've done. We have not yet done scale, so that we have to do today. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Who
I
has a
had a
doubt?
yeah,
Huh.
I had a question on that. So we learned the takadimi takajono, right? A division part.
Hmm.
So when I have to leave and just say takita, takita, takita. So how do I actually write it?
How do you write
The note.
using notation?
Yes.
Yeah, which is the notation you're trying to notate?
I actually sent the audio in the group.
Yeah, so if you play that back, I'll tell you
Sure,
right now.
sure. Okay, I can actually. I think it's in my mind. I can tell you. Takita takadimi, takita takadimi, taka takadimi, taka takadimi. This is what I tried writing.
Fair enough. So what you're doing is you've added some res. You've
Correct,
added
correct.
gaps and all
Yes,
that in inside.
correct, correct, correct.
So that we haven't seen yet. We'll do that soon, very shortly.
Oh, okay, okay,
Probably in another class. In the next
okay,
class only we'll do that.
okay, okay.
Okay. Any other doubts regarding notation or notes in music? Okay. And,
Jason, I have a doubt.
huh. Yeah.
So this Western notations which we
Yeah.
write,
Yeah.
I'm finding it difficult to differentiate between two and three. As in, like, what should be, like, if we say sa, should it be two or should it be three? That thing I'm getting little confused.
What is two or three? What is
I
the
mean,
two or three?
the second note and the third note. Mm,
Where is that?
uh, that multiplication thing. Huh, this one.
This?
Yeah, yeah, the pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, yeah. So if you write this rhythm, which I'm pointing,
Huh.
this will be on the pulse. So the music will go like this. One, two. It'll pretty much go like this, right? If you do this sort of music, this is a bit different than this, isn't it? So this
Yeah.
has a long note. This
Mm-hmm.
eats up two beats,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have a two short notes. So this is on the pulse. This is not on the pulse. This is multiplying the pulse. So this will be something like 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Let me point it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Agreed? This is three notes. And now here you're going to have two long notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the number of symbols indicates the number of notes.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that is understandable.
Yeah.
Number of symbols indicates number of notes. And then after that, you have to decide whether you want fast notes or whether you want short notes or, yeah, dotted notes or any other such note.
I mean, while hearing, I'm finding it difficult. I was just
Hmm.
revising through
Yeah, yeah.
last videos. While hearing, I'm finding it little difficult to differentiate between 2 and 3.
This one and this one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so then you need to work on combining them. So you could
Okay.
maybe just take two rhythms at a time. Like
Mm,
perhaps you could do this one.
mm.
Oh, wait. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, ta, ta. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Goes on and on. Yeah. So this is a note which lasts 3 counts. It's not at all dividing the beat. Dividing the beat came a bit later, where we used Konokol to help us divide, but then we've not divided it entirely. We could divide it with some gaps also, with rests. We'll
Mm.
see that shortly. We'll move on to another subject. We'll come back to rhythm shortly. Rhythm is quite detailed. It goes on and on. And the thing about any kind of music theory class or anything which you learn like this is it always feels like music is a very finite thing, because you're learning this and if you think about it, every artist divides by 1, divides by 2, divides by 4 and 3, but then within this there are thousands of permutations, there are a lot of options. But if you understand the basics of it, you can start developing things moving forward. So it's not the music, there is no shortcut unfortunately in this field. It's exactly like a sport. So you can't say, oh, I've mastered this sport or that sport. You can never say that. You'll have to keep learning. But one advantage of music is you can keep playing it. In sports, the professionals they retire quite early, right? Before the age of 40. With music, sometimes you can be peaking at the age of 50. At the age of 50, you could be at your best, right? I've taught quite a few who've started playing. So this age thing is one of the most useless things for music. Age doesn't matter. Being born into a musical family is also nonsense. I've never believed in all that nonsense. So all that matters is work. If you work on it, and if you're excited to move forward to the next challenge, and then the next challenge, and then the next challenge, you should literally think of all these as your opponents. You should be enjoying to face them, right, every time. So the more, but the systems are simple. You divide by 4, divide by 2, divide by 1. But now the question is, if I have to divide by 4 and not play this second one, we need to have a thing for that. We need to notate that. So some of you may have done that in your assignments. So again, if you have done the assignments, make sure you put it on the Google Drive folder and just share us the link. We'll hear it. We may not hear it immediately, but we'll hear it as soon as possible. At least over the weekends is where I get a lot of time to hear these assignments. So if you're submitting it, just submit it on that group, on the folder. Okay. Any other quick doubts before we start the next topic on scales? We'll start.
Jason, Atul
Ah,
here. I posted a doubt on the WhatsApp. I'm not sure if we're going to take it now or later, but the doubt was that how do we notate a note which lasts about 1.5 beat?
yeah, I think you posted that recently, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So if you want a note which has 1.5 beat, we
Hmm.
go by the dotted concept. So this note is what? How do we consider the dot? It's
This is 3
two,
beat. Mm.
two. Yeah. So the concept behind the dot notation is the dot adds half of the preceding note's value.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So because of that, it's adding half of two. That
Hmm.
means 2 plus
3.
half of 2. What is half of 2? 1.
1.
2
Mm.
plus 1 equals 3. So I told you that this is for 3. So similarly, can you not get 1.5 using a crotchet?
Yeah.
So it's the same idea. Now
Okay.
another way you could get, as you said, 1.5 is you could also use what we call as tied notes. A tied note would extend the value of a note by another note. So if you want Now you may argue, how many notes is this? This is actually two. This is not two notes. This is one note. This is one sound which lasts for 2 plus 1 because of that arc or the tie. So this is 1, 2, 3. There's no. How do I play this note? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Agreed? That's it. Same as this. Now this one could also be considered as, yeah. But sometimes we use this style of writing. Sometimes we use this style of writing. So it depends.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Fine. We'll start then with how to build a scale. So last week we looked at these scales where scales will have different themes, different cultures. Also with scales you can do a few other things, like you could do modal scales, you can do raga scales. I just call them as raga scales, right? So for me, what makes all this happen? I did write a few other things as well. Pretty much the same things. A scale could also determine the genre of a song, but the types of scales could either be considered modally, which is a Western concept, or using ragas, which is an Indian concept. So I'm quite confident working with Indian musicians who play these ragas, because I kind of know how they think. I don't know a single name of any scale, right? Or I may know Karahara Priya, because I think that name is quite cool. That's all. There's no other incentive for me to learn it other than the fact that that sounded quite cool when my flautist friend told me. And then because I already composed a song, I composed almost 5-6 songs on that scale. She got fascinated by that and said, "You are playing Karahara Priya." And then I'm like, okay, cool. Keep saying it a few more times and I'll remember that. Right? So the names are nice. Include even the Western names can get very annoying as well. I don't know which is more annoying, to be honest. But anyway, you have modes, which are how you use scales with chordal principles. Like for example, if I have this is actually a scale, right? That could be a scale. Now why is this a scale? Because this is implying you may even think that this is some Indian scale and so on. But modes in Western are derived more around chords, and also you change the sa. You keep changing the root. But we don't do that very often with Indian scales, like the ragas. With Indian scales, we generally tend to keep the same root. With Western scales, we have a lot of techniques where the root only will change. It doesn't have to just always be C scale. It can keep changing, right? Sometimes the key will be the same, but the root will change. Sometimes the roots will also change. If you take a song like Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, it has what? More than 6 scales, if you ask me, which in one song is quite an achievement. It's a lot of work going into one song, and that's generally what I term as a song's density. So generally how I rate a song, if you ask me what makes a song good, it'll have density, and perhaps because of that it'll have longevity. So these two ways of rating songs no one will ever do. It's the same reason why if Nirvana were alive now and writing music, I don't think they would have wanted to release even one song on the internet. They would have heard all the stuff which is coming out right now. Probably they'll never be a successful band. So times have changed. The 90s were really great for what they are doing. Even the era we are in is quite great, come to think of it. But we are not moving forward for some reason. So density is the amount of information in a song. And longevity is how many years the song is surviving for, right? So why would you call a song like Bohemian Rhapsody great? Because it ticks both of this. It's an extremely dense song. It is so dense that they actually made a movie out of the song, come to think of it, right? There is a movie which you must have seen in the theaters, right? So that's based on the story of that song. Even the lyrics are really deep, right? The longevity, see how long it survived. So for all you know, if there's a song which is really famous but was written about 50-60 years ago, like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. No, Somewhere Over the Rainbow was written almost a century ago, I guess. I may be wrong, but it was written long ago. That song is still a classic. Like, people keep doing cover versions of that song. Another example of an artist is maybe the Beatles. Beatles people will keep revisiting, right? And or you may make a song based on the Beatles. Who knows? Maybe you didn't even know that you're doing it, but because you've heard so much of that, you do it, right? So in India, I would say, at least in the south, you have an artist by name Ilaiyaraaja. Ilaiyaraaja is a South Indian composer. I think he has both these things going on for him, density and longevity. So he's gonna last way more than anyone. I would say like years, like decades, maybe a century more than Rahman also. Like lot of people. He's written so much, number one, and every song he writes, he doesn't care about anyone. He just writes it. He just wants to make good music. A lot of the other composers want to write it to please other people. That's where your density could be a problem. So that's generally how we rate songs. So even if you say the Nokia theme song, you know, that it's actually a very dense melody. It's so dense because it has a lot of chords. You can improvise a lot of it on it. However, this is not a dense melody. Yeah, it's just advertised very well. But that Nokia tune, I'm a huge fan of. I quite like it. But anyway, so scales are the reason whenever we talk about a song, or whenever we talk about music, or whenever we go to our keyboards, guitars, and try and do something, we are always going to be debating on which scale to play. Why are we playing that scale? Is it supposed to be for something sad, something happy, something scary? So this is the most important subject in music, and scales are supported by another chapter called intervals, both of which we are going to learn today. So let's start building the most common scale, they say, at least Western wise, the major scale. It's quite common because there are thousands of songs which have been written on it. So I would say for every 1,000 songs written on the major or the minor, which is almost the same, there may be 5 or 6 written on other scales, of which most of them would also be the harmonic minor, which is a derived scale. So the major scale is a very important scale. That's what we are going to learn. We learn minor also after that. So major is used in Indian music, in Western music, in Chinese music, whatever music, it's used quite often. So let's build it. First we'll build it using numbers. So write all the Roman numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if need be 8. So these are the notes of a scale. And what did we say in the last week? Generally 12 wants to become 7. The 12 notes in music, right? Sharps, flats, 12 notes in music. When it becomes 7, there is more order. There is also more purpose. And also you're going to have a ringleader. You're going to have the main definition of the sound created by this first note. This is a very important note. Okay, so if you use all the 12 notes in music, you will not be able to establish which is the important note. You will probably start getting very confused That's why a lot of musicians build 7-note scales. And I think that's common even in Indian Carnatic and Hindustani. Every music, you'll start with the 7, as they say, thats, I guess, in Hindustani, and Melakarta ragas in Carnatic, right? So you start with those 7-note scales, and then you can do subsets of that, and then create all sorts of other options. Okay, so what I understand about Indian ragas is I'll hear the raga more as a smaller scale, as a subset, so the subsets will be learned shortly. For now, let's learn the 7-note scale. So we are going to write, which scale shall we start off with? Which is the most important scale used by all? G.
C scale?
C scale. Who is it used by? Nora Jones doesn't use it. John Mayer doesn't use it. A.R. Rahman doesn't use it. Yeah, the C major is some academic thing. They write it in all these books and sell it. So I don't like it. So I'm going to start with A. But you will also do C. We'll do everything. Why do we want to do only C? We'll do every scale now today. So let's start with A major. So you write A as the first note. Of course, somewhere you should write the heading. Heading is important. A major scale. What scale are we building now? A major. So it's important to know with music in general, if you go to our note circle, this is a very important thing for a lot of reasons. So if I do either one step after A, which is A sharp, or 2 steps after A, which is B, this is what we call a stepwise motion. That means you could do A sharp, or AB. This is step, this is also step. So I call this one step, or a semitone is what they all call it, or 2 steps, or what I call a tone, or what they call a tone, and what I say is 2 steps, because for me, logically it's 1, 2. Agreed? So this is 1 step, 2 steps. So from A, 1 step is A sharp, also known as B flat, 2 steps is B. And this is important because as we cross beyond the steps, we can get more sonically understandable things. So once you know how to count this way and this way from anywhere, you start growing it, and then we go in leaps. And this is where the emotions really start to come to life. See, this sounds very positive and happy, I guess. Sounds a bit scary, I guess. Sounds very normal. This sounds a bit mysterious, mystical. It sounds a bit victorious or epic. This sounds like it wants to go somewhere. It's like we're hanging on some bridge. This sounds a bit annoying or tense, and that's just the octave. That's the same frequency. It's like mixing red with bright red. What are you going to get? Red only, right? The color won't change. So these are what we call as intervals. An interval is extremely important in music, because if you play this note, now you people may call this a B flat, or we all will call it a B flat. But there is an argument now, is this a musical note? Is this music right now? Obviously not. One would expect more, right? For all you know, if you're in an auto, the auto horn could be playing the same fundamental pitch. Right? It could be done by an auto, right? Now, how do you call that music? That is not music. So with music, you need to connect things. You need to take one note. Okay, I've played it. Awesome. Super. Now I want something a bit melancholic after this note. What do I do? Maybe that. Now I want something a bit scary from this note. Remember, this is my start. Why have I chosen this? I like B flat. I don't like this. This is annoying. So I like this one. And now I want something scary. So I immediately know it's E. I want something mysterious. F sharp. So it's important to know. Now I'll ask one of you a question. Does F sharp sound mysterious? What makes F sharp? What made this sound a bit mysterious? Or this sound a bit scary? Anyone?
The relationship with the two notes.
Can you be a bit more defined?
Tension.
Tension, something. No, you all are not understanding my question.
Sir, the notes become heavier as we proceed, when we go from B flat. So
Hang on, I'll tell the question again. My question was, let's take E. Now, which note sounds scary? You agree that there is a scary sound created, right? Which of these notes are scary?
When you do it,
Can you play it again?
I'm playing it again. Hang on. Listen carefully, yeah? Which note is
Sounds
scary?
E.
Who?
E.
E. Now,
I think B flat.
No. E.
I think none of them sound scary. It's the interval between the two which is
Yeah, the
yes.
combination of
scary.
the
Yeah,
two notes.
diminution
Yeah.
is scary.
Yeah, that was the point I wanted to make. By nature, you can never argue that E is scary. E is a note. It's just a sound. It's just a fundamental vibrating frequency because of Mother Earth, which gave us that option. That's all. So when you combine it with that, human beings around planet Earth take advantage of that, right? So Mother Earth gave us all this. All this was given. It's all there on Earth. But human beings and composers of the past and present and going to be future have acknowledged that this sounds scary. Not only musicians, I'm sure normal guys walking or hanging around listening to music would also agree that this sounds a bit scary compared to that. So we need to now study when B flat and F come together, there's a very stable bond created. When B flat and E come together, there's a very unstable bond created. So these are called as intervals. But before we do those fancy, what we call as leap intervals, this one, this one, this one, let's start with the step intervals. That one and that. You see, the first step is a bit of a tension, isn't it? While the second step, how do we compare the two? Can anyone like to compare the two? Actually, let me go away from B flat. Where did we agree to be on A? Okay, so this is one step. And now this is two steps. How do you compare the two? This sound and this sound. Anyone?
So can you play it again? I need to see the
Playing
notes.
again. Yeah. Okay, this is, and this is also a good time to define what is a musical sound. As I told earlier, I didn't conclude. Earlier I told that this is not a musical sound. This is a sound. What makes it a musical sound? When you have minimum two. Only when there's a minimum of two objects coming together can your brain start working. Otherwise, your mind will not bother. Your mind will just say, oh, so what if you played A? What am I going to do with it? It's not going to help me at all. So now I'm mixing. This is sound 1, sound 2. How do you compare?
So,
So
as you
the
said,
The
Sorry.
sound one,
Yeah.
the
Rhea,
sound, the first sound is a bit more
Hey,
intense
guys.
than the second.
Guys, can you put on your video, please? It's very annoying. I can't see anything. Yeah, what is wrong with putting on the video? Even if you're having your lunch, it's good. No problem. I don't care. Yeah.
The first sound had an intense feeling. The second one had a bit more intense feeling.
What does that mean? Intense is very subjective, right? Musicians are maths people, not psychologists.
Uh,
Anyone else?
Listen,
One.
actually, the thing is like as you explained in the before thing, the density and the longevity for a note. So I feel when you're playing one key, so it's not creating any kind of like thing of it might be creating some kind of density, but
Yeah,
when you play both, it creates the density and the longevity,
I
and
agree. Yeah,
it
no,
can
that we've agreed on. My
okay.
point is, how are we going to compare this sound with this sound? We know that there's an emotion for
Yeah.
both. I want to tell me what is the emotion for this and what's the emotion for this guy.
And
One is in
Shreyas,
the heavier and one is in the little bit lighter, just fading away from the
This
heavier note.
second
Okay.
one sounds more resolved.
Okay, I don't know who that was, but anyway, yeah, the second one sounds a lot more resolved, she's saying, compared to the first one. Fair enough. That's a one way to analyze. Then anyone else?
There's
Anusha,
more
you were trying to
tension.
speak.
yeah, first one was kind of anxious, and the second one was kind of letting it go, like, smoothing it out.
Ah, so in comparison, I guess what you people are trying to say is this is a tension.
Yeah.
You can just say it's a tension. So in the most ancient music scripts translated from whatever Latin to eventually English, even they used to call this a tension. Even the teacher who Bach and Mozart learned from, even they had to have a teacher, right? So even those people would call this a tension. While this is an interesting sound. So we call it in music as an anticipation. What does the word anticipation mean? I am in anticipation of that. That means it's going to go somewhere. It wants to go somewhere. So if this is chaos and is already like unstable, this is in between. You can think of it as stable, but actually you could find another note which really resolves it, and that's a resolution. So you have tension, anticipation, resolution. And resolution could either be happy or sad. Obviously, when you are sad, it's also very stable. So if you compare this, let's say, with an exam, right? If you have to do well in an exam, even if you end up doing well, when the results don't come, there is a state of what? Tension, right? But when the results do come, some of us will feel happy, some of us will feel sad, but at least the results came. So you are in a state of resolution, even though you are sad or dejected or whatever, right? But of course, if you failed sometimes, which I've ended up doing, then you go back to tension. But then after a point, it doesn't matter, because at least you should get 15 in internals and 35 in practicals if you are an engineering student. That's an important secret which none of you should follow ever, because you don't want to be at that point where you need 50 marks somehow. Anyway, so let's build to one step, two steps from each other. I'm going to quickly ask people, you all quickly answer, and that is the way you're going to form your scales. So we are going to find the point in the scale where there's this sound and where there's this sound. It can either be an anticipation or a tension. And the tension we are going to call as a one step or semitone. Okay? While the other thing, we are going to call this as a two steps or a tone. Before we do all that writing, let's just do a few quick exercises. What is a tone from C? The screen's in front of
B.
you. You should. Fast. Come on. Okay. What is a step before B flat?
A.
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 Excellent. What is 2 steps after D sharp?
F.
Awesome. So you should know that even 2 steps after E flat is also our F. It's the same thing because D sharp and E flat are the same. Okay, agreed. What is 1 step before D?
C sharp.
C sharp.
D flat.
Yeah, C sharp also known as D flat. What is 2 steps before B flat?
A.
Who's
G
that?
sharp.
Yeah.
G sharp also known as A flat. Okay, awesome. What is 1 step before C?
B.
What is
B.
1 step? What is 1 step after B?
C.
C.
Awesome. So now you people are done with what is a 1 step and what is a 2 steps. So I am just going to write down the formula for the major scale using stepwise motion. 1 step or 2 steps, and that will end up being 2 2 1 2 2 2 and a final 1 there. So one thing to acknowledge is there's 1 step here and there's 1 step here. So this is a very important point of the scale, right? This one wants to come here or this one wants to go there. We need to figure that out with respect to the sa or the root. So I want you guys to build A major scale right now very quickly, and also it's good to write the Indian symbols as well because you can sing this quite effectively. Sa will be number 1, Re I guess will be 2, but then you have all sorts of Re's. We'll deal with the normal Re for now, okay, or the Shuddh Re, I think they call it that. And then the third will be called as Ga. Again, Ga can be Komal Ga or normal Ga. And then you have the fourth called as Ma. So a good way to replace number 4 is just say Ma. A good way to replace number 1 would just be to say Sa. So for singers, you need to keep this in mind. A lot of times when we do exercises or tunes, we tend to say la la la, na na na, and other such random syllables. If the syllables can start becoming more specific, saregama, pa being the 5, the being the 6, ni being the 7, and they've chosen these syllables also quite well because ni is a bit unstable, and when you say it also it feels a bit funny, okay. And then finally the high sa or the octave. So now starting on A, you need to build the A major scale. I'll just give you a few seconds and then one of you can just tell us the answer, and slowly we'll move 2 steps, 2 1. So remember the note circle of the last class, keep that ready somewhere, keep staring at this, or the better hope would be that the circle is in your mind by now. That circle is stored there. Awesome. Come on. Okay, anyone? A major. So you tell me like this. You say the Re is this, the Ga is that, the Ma is that, and so on.
Yeah. Raise B. Raise B.
Raise B. So you're saying it's 2 steps from A. So
Yeah.
that'll be A sharp B.
Yeah. Ga is C sharp.
Again, why? Again, the piano is a very useful tool, everyone, especially if you're not a piano player. Check this out, how easily I'm able to get it. You just go in this zigzag kind of motion and you get your steps. Also on the guitar, it's important to note how these notes are developed. I completely forgot to talk about that on the guitar. So guitarists make a note. So here you have your E string, A string, D string, G string, B string, and the high E. Why do we call this as E string and D string and whatnot? Because the fundamental pitch created by the string or the length of the string from here to here is supposed to be tuned as E. It doesn't come as E. You have to actually tune it and make it E using these sort of things, the tuning keys or the tuning pegs. So now you, from E, if you remember your note circle, what this is 1 fret away. A fret is basically like a cutting they put here. So what happens is anything you play in this vicinity will not change pitch. So you go, see, my note is not changing, but if I go here, the note changes. Agreed?
Yep.
The note changes. And you pretty much have 4 fingers to do this on the guitar because your thumb needs to support the hand. So at the back, your thumb is busy pressing and giving energy to the to clutch the instrument better, because it's not an easy job to actually push the strings in. So if I have E going on, E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, and as you go higher, you will also make a note that there are these dots. So you see that there's a dot here where my finger is. The dot kind of gives you a map. Like I kind of remember now that this is A, D, and I kind of know where my notes are. And I know that the double dot is on the 12th fret, and that will be an octave away from the first note. So if this is E, you can be well assured that this will be the high E. Unless, of course, there's something unfortunate going on with your guitar, like perhaps poor intonation, which is possible. You know, maybe the wood needs to be adjusted a bit better by a proper craftsman. So you'll have to go to someone who will help you. So a good way to check if your guitar is in tune is to actually play E and then the high E. Right? A, high A. D, high D. G, high G. So you need to know these basic pillar notes. On the piano, it works very, very differently. First of all, to play the thing is not a big deal. You just need one hand. Sometimes you can even play this with your nose. Right? That's fun sometimes. It's quite easy, but on a guitar, it's annoying, right? You need this finger to go here, press hard. Then you have to find that string with this hand and pluck it. And then some people use the plastic object, the plectrum, which helps you, I don't know what. I'm not a plectrum player, but anyway. So you have to find all these notes, and after you found these notes, you start pressing the strings together. You start pressing many of these strings together and you create a chord. Right? Various kinds of chords exist. All these you can even do on the piano. You need your right hand or whatever other hand to give you that energy, right? And with this hand you create rhythms, and with this hand you kind of steer your vehicle. So this is like your engine, and this is like the steering wheel of the vehicle which you're driving. So guitar is another really exciting, incredible instrument, but it's super easy to find your notes. So I'm not going to do this because the whole class may not be benefited, but all the guitar students, I'm giving you your first homework, which is draw the guitar and write down each note. What is this note? This is E, F, F sharp G, and do it only for the first maybe 5 to 7 frets. You can end your journey here. That's all. And you keep practicing it. Your teacher will keep saying, okay, play me an A. Then you can ask your teacher, which A should I play? I can play this A, or I can play an A here. I can do open A, or I can do an A here. I can do an A here. I can do an A here or here. You see, I've played an A on every single string on the guitar. So this can be very helpful to get to know the guitar a lot better. Before, of course, your teacher will give you chords and shapes and all that. But beyond that, what you will benefit from is, where is G? should just go and find your G. You know, it's here. There's one dot also to help you. You can't see it from here. You can see that dot. So it's very easy to find it. And what is this fret number? 1, 2, 3. So someone will say go to the 3rd fret and do something. Maybe you can play a melody from here. But it's all starting from G. Or someone may say go to C and do something on C. So why I'm also saying guitar is the intervals are built accordingly. Like for example, if I want something happy, I'm just using a simple word like happy on the guitar and I'm here. I don't even know what this is. Yes, it is C, but if I don't know this, to create a happy sound, you start with your middle finger here, then you play your index finger on the next string before fret. You get something quite happy. If you want something sad, if you want something scary, feeling it. If you want the octave, if you want something a bit tense, and so on. But see, my reference point is the C. So as a guitar player, you practice moving this way. On a piano, it's a bit, I would say, I mean, as the instrument only gives you black or white, you have black or white notes. So I look at it, I don't look at it as black and white necessarily. I look at it more as binary. The piano is a very binary instrument. It's you play this or you don't, or you play something else. It's all very clear. I have to play G. There is only one G. You play the G. But on the guitar, there are so many Gs because you have 6 strings. So a guitar friend of mine once joked around in a workshop we organized, but actually everyone laughed, but I didn't find that. I found it very interesting what he said. What he said was playing the guitar is like playing 6 pianos, right? So because it's true, you have 6 pianos. 6 pianos are there which you have to play. So I quietly lost a lot of not interest, but I just figured the guitar is just too tough and let's move to the piano itself. At least I can see the thing. See, I have E flat, looks like E flat, it's a second twin, you play it. On the guitar, it's very different. See, what does anything look like? There is no visual idea. No one is telling you. There's no twin, there's no triplet, there's nothing. It's just your hard work which you have to keep putting in. It's the same with the piano, but for the guitar, it's different kind of work. So every musical instrument you learn, it's the same thing with the violin. You have 4 strings in the violin, you have the open tuning, and then you press your finger, and what will happen to the pitch? The pitch will get higher. Obviously, the pitch can't go lower because there's a reference point. It can only go higher from where you started, right? So you have a lot of other instruments, and every instrument has its way of dealing with pitch and dealing with notes. You have instruments like the flute, for instance, which don't even have a fixed pitch. It could be tuned, sometimes it may not be tuned, but the intervals or these holes are designed really well, right? So lot of, like my flautist friend, she gets her flutes made in a forest in Kerala. She just goes there and prefers that to the commercial stores you get in Delhi and Bombay and all that, because there they make it really well and design it really well. So every instrumentalist has their own way. I would say flautists, violinists are very passionate about their instrument, while the piano players are just like, okay, when am I going to get a better piano? When am I going to upgrade now from this thing? When is it going to have more keys? When is it going to be like longer or wider? I don't know, more features. That's all piano players think of. Guitar players will be like, that's the guitar which Joe Satriani used. I have one normal one, but eventually I want that one. So guitar players are very glamorous people for some reason, or the guitar will sound beautiful, but then it will not be in the wooden finish which you want. Then you won't even bother buying it. You'll tell your friends, no man, I don't like that sound, it's quite boring, I don't feel it. You don't like the color. So everyone is very, very funny, but there are some instruments which take very, very long to even find the note. Like imagine the violin, there is no button, there's no fret, there's nothing. You have to find the thing with your ear. You have to actually press the finger on the string based on your ear. There's no buttons, there's no, it's just your ear. So violinists tend to end up having very good ears, right? Piano players tend to always have the worst ears because everything is right in front of us, so we have to do a little bit more effort. Piano players and vocalists, because vocalists, you're not motivated to training your ear or know the notes, because what do you have to do? There is a song playing, you have to sing it. Why do you need music knowledge for that? Isn't it? There's a song and you sing it. If you're a good singer or not a good singer, you just work on your vocal training. So vocalists and pianists have that problem. Ear training issues are there. Guitar players have very good ears. Violin players end up having good ears. And these people who play horns have to have really good ears. So with a trumpet, you have to generate all the 12 notes with just 3 buttons. Every single note you have to do. Now, how do you do that? I imagine a guitar. I have all the frets. For piano, I have all these things every laid out. On this instrument, nothing is. It's just 3 buttons. So you're just controlling it like how people control pistons in engineering. Right, that's all the trumpet is. It's a piston based system. So there's so many instruments. It's interesting to, at least you may not learn it, but at least figure out how do they play their notes, how do they find such notes. Africans have this instrument, their main instrument, or their what do you say, national instrument. Like I don't know what India's national instrument is. Is it the tabla? I'm not too sure. But anyway, in the whole of Africa, and you know how populated Africa is, right? So many cultures and all that. Their main instrument is called as the thumb piano or the kalimba. So they play it with their thumb. That's their national instrument, right? And they also have in Zimbabwe, or for some places in Africa, their national instruments change. They have a wooden marimba made only in Zimbabwe with specific wood and all that, and they pride themselves because the American marimba costs 8,000 USD. The Zimbabwean marimba will cost about $200 or just $10,000, and it sounds better than the American marimba, which costs lakhs. So they make that and they play, and culturally also in a place like Zimbabwe, people benefit from that because they may not be as rich as some of the other countries. So everyone gets to play the marimba. And what's also cool with the marimba is it's a drum like melodic instrument. So while you play melodies, you're also learning stick work, you're learning drumming. So what a couple of friends from Zimbabwe told me was, whoever learns the marimba will become a damn good pianist and a damn good drummer at the same time, like all at the same time. Or they could play so every country have all these weird things. China makes instruments where you can get every note with one string, just one string, and you can do. Even in Turkey you have some fabulous instruments. The Argentina has an instrument called the bandoneon, which is like a keyboard, but it's so light you can just sit and play it on your lap, and it's actually better than an accordion. It's quite cooler what these Argentinian people have invented, right? And there is like a very, very famous Argentinian bandoneon player who's written like thousands of songs. Like in Argentina, they write music by the thousands. They don't write it like in the 20s or the 100s. They write it in the thousands. So it's crazy. Okay, so have you all written A major? Can one of you just tell? Sheshu, you were telling, right?
Sir, can I tell?
Tell. Yeah, yeah.
A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, A flat, A.
Why? Okay, now that's an interesting problem which Rhea has got herself into. There's no problem in calling it A flat, right? You called it A flat. But the law is to write it as G sharp. Now I hope you understand why you have C sharp also known as D flat. Why have we ended up choosing C sharp? Because we already have a D letter being used. The letter D is used for the scale, so we have to thus not use letter D for any other pitch. That's why we have two options for this. And what option has she chosen? C sharp. So you need to have all the English letters. You should not repeat any English letter. And how many letters are there for music? 7. That's all. And how many letters does a scale have? 7. So what came second, the English or the notes? Obviously the notes came first. But then they've put the English with these hashes and flats like a coding language. It's become like a program, like a code. So we need to follow the syntax of the language. So C sharp, agreed? All clear? Could we have called this A flat? Maybe so. But why did we go with G sharp? Because there's already an A. Okay, brilliant. So this is the A major scale. And when we do our short break, I'll request you to write down all the natural scales. By natural, I mean A, B major, C major, which will be D major, E major, F major, G major, and A, which we did now. Okay, but I'm not going to bother too much about the other scales. That I'm leaving to you for homework only. But I hope you've all understood the stepwise motion. Either we move 2 steps or 1 step. Okay, so if you wanted to find a third from A, you would skip the second and go directly to the G, which means 3. So third from A ends up being C sharp. What is the fourth from A? D. What's the fifth from A? E. What's the sixth? F sharp. Seventh and 8. We don't say 8, we just say octave. Okay, so this is your A major scale. Now instead of writing down all the other scales which you only can do and then we'll discuss, let's start making some music with these scales right away. Okay, so I'm going to write down a few melodies. I want you to play these or we'll start with one melody.
So this is Twinkle Twinkle.
How do you know? Where does it say twinkle twinkle? You never know. It could even be some Belgian national anthem. Let's see. Okay, so what you need to do is you have to either use your keyboard, or if you don't have one, I've already told you what have I told you? To get that app, the piano app. Have you all got it? So I have an app called GarageBand. You could also get something called Perfect Piano. So this is,
even I have GarageBand.
Yeah, if you have GarageBand or Perfect Piano, fair enough. Just clicking Grand Piano, it opens. Yeah. You can even change the sounds. If you don't like the sound of a piano, you can change it around. Okay, this is the app. Cool. So can you play that melody? What is the one of A major? So whoever said it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star has to play it and prove to the class and say the notes while you play it, and let's see what song it is. You all playing? I hope you're playing it. So the 1 of A major is A. The 5 is something. What is the 5 of A? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. E. Fine. Okay, can anyone play the song on mobile phone rendition? Ah. Sounds familiar, right? So which song is this? Who composed this song, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Does anyone know? Why don't you guys finish the song? And then
Done, sir.
play it, Vanya, if you can. Whatever you want, keyboard or app or whatever.
Wait.
Now I'm hearing the note C. You have to play Twinkle on what is the scale? It says A major. So start on A. Okay, practice a bit more and then perform it. Anyone else? Suman, you want to perform it? You have a keyboard or an app?
An app.
Perform it. Let's see how it sounds. It should sound something similar to Twinkle Twinkle.
Just a minute, sir. Sorry.
Why am I hearing an F, Suman? F is an illegal note. You should never press F when you're in the A scale. Okay, anyway, keep practicing. Anyone else? Let's hear it played on a keyboard by someone, a normal keyboard. Who has a normal keyboard now? Uma has a normal keyboard. Komali has a keyboard, I guess.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you also have an app. Play it, Uma. Nice. Can you also play the melody with a sa, with a sa on the left hand?
Sir,
With piano player, you can also add the sa, no?
Yeah.
So try
Can I
that.
now
See.
play, sir?
Hang on, let her finish.
Okay.
No, play the root in the bass. Sa.
Okay. Like that?
Yeah. So what she is trying to do now, which is good, is you feel the sa a little better. Vanya will come to you shortly. So you go. Check this out. Sounds a lot better, right? Without it, feels a bit incomplete. Okay, nice. I'll give you guys a couple more melodies very shortly after the short break. So what we'll do now is we'll take a short break for a couple of minutes.
Just one doubt.
Yeah.
So there are these C3, C4, C5, and C1.
Yeah.
So what are those like?
Good question. So C1 is the first C you have on the piano.
Okay.
C2 is the second C, higher C, higher. So I think it'll sound good if you use C4 or maybe A. Now we are on A, no? So you play the A here, or you may not want to play this A. Sounds very screechy. Or oh, this is also nice, come to think of it. But this is too low. So maybe choose a middle note, middle A.
Probably C3 or C4 would do.
Yeah, before to play, remember you're performing the tune on A major scale. So you want to play A3.
Okay.
C3,
Yeah,
D3,
right.
E3 like that. So A3.
Understood.
But what is A? That will always remain A only. It's to the in between triplet 2 and triplet 3. Okay, everyone. So what we shall do now is I want you to write down the notes of all the white note major scales. White note major scales or natural major scales. What are they? A major, B major, C major, D major, E major, F major, G major. And if you're a pianist or otherwise, even the rest of you could do like this. You can write your scale like this. See, start with a heading. Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll do this after the break. I have to charge my this thing as well. So take a short break. Write down all the remaining white note scales. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's 7 scales you have to write. We'll discuss everyone's answers, and then if you've written it fast, try playing Twinkle Twinkle on all those scales. What is the job? I mean, when do you know that you're right? When you're right. There's no one needs to tell you. If you start on B and if Twinkle sounds like this, there's some problem going on. So you have to make sure it sounds right when you're assigned the B scale. Okay, we'll take a short break, resume in a maximum 5 minutes and continue.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, is the class is still 2 or 2:30, sir, today?
2:30.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, let's continue. Okay, let's quickly write down all the scales. So one good way to write it is like this. A major, so we write A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Could write it like this. Also on the piano you can write it to understand it better while you're playing on the app or the piano. What do you think this is?
Black
Any
keys.
Black keys.
Sorry?
Black keys.
Black and white keys, yeah.
Black and white keys, no? So it's just a crude way to write down your major scale. So I call this the worm or the piano worm. So let's proceed. One of you tells me B major. We'll write the note and the worm of B major. And after that, try to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on B major. At least first two lines. Then you're like, good, you know it. Okay, Atul, yeah.
B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B.
Yeah. And another trick is if you started writing sharps, you continue writing sharps. That's how it can be. You don't mix sharps and flats together. So he goes. Very easy shape, right? So you go. It's pretty much your B major scale. Okay, and again try playing Twinkle. And so on. Okay, next major scale, C major. Anyone tell us the notes of C major?
C, D, E, F, G, A, B.
Yeah, correct. And then the high C. Then what will be the worm for C major?
So only one, like not going up or down.
Yeah, the C major. Okay, then we have to learn D major. D major, anyone else?
D, E,
D, E,
F sharp,
yeah,
G, A, B, C sharp, D.
open. And let's draw the worm. Yeah. So this will help you figure out where the black notes are, here and here. And the rest are white. Okay. So after D major, we have to see E major. Anyone? E major, fast. Atul.
Yeah, E major is E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp.
Correct. We just write the final E. It's not a new note, remember. We just write it as a finishing point. Like the scale is over. It's also a good way to check our answer. Okay. Let's draw the worm. Quite easy to remember. It's like two boats upside down. Remember it that way. You'll have another scale E flat major, which is even easier. It's like two actual boats, not upside down. Okay, moving on. So you need to remember each scale as a personality. You know, every scale is different. So you have to learn everything. Moving on. F major. Anyone?
Okay. F, G,
Huh?
A,
Yeah.
B flat,
Yeah.
C, D, E.
Yeah. So it's important to note that she's told us a B flat. Why did you say B flat, Uma, instead of A sharp?
Yeah, because A has already come, so I chose.
A has already come. Correct. Let's draw the worm. Again, try. You guys should try playing Twinkle Twinkle. You know what the sa is, you know what the pa is, and all that. So, then. The next scale will be the G major scale. Can anyone tell us the G scale?
G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G.
Perfect. Yeah, with the worm now. So G major we agree has one sharp. That's also a nice way to remember the thing. You can just tell yourself G major has one sharp. G major has one sharp. F major has one flat, which is a very different note. F sharp and B flat have nothing to do with each other. Okay, so we've written down all the scales. Any doubts? All the white scales are over. In conclusion, for the housework, you can draw the remaining, which are E flat major, A flat major, B flat major, D flat major, and then you can either write F sharp as F sharp major or G flat major. It's up to you. So here there will be a question mark scale, because you will have alphabetical repetition. So don't worry about that too much. Just write it. So these are the black scales. Write them down as well for homework. And play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on as many as you can. Ideally all over the week. If you do that one melody, and I'm going to give you 2 or 3 more melodies for homework, you know your scales, you know how to transcribe, you know how to transpose. All these subjects are there. So we have all these fancy words, transposition and all that. Whenever it's a fancy word, it's something which I'll deliberately not want to talk about, because fancy words usually represent the simplest of things in music. So transposition is one fancy thing they keep doing. There's nothing great about it. We've learned it right now. 1155665 is the general tune. Can you play? How many scales can you play this tune in?
11 scales.
12, no? We have 12 scales in life.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So homework number 1, play Twinkle on A. Then when you're done with A, what comes after A? B flat. B. C. D flat. D. E flat. E. F. F sharp. G. A flat. And A. That's your job. Do it on the app or whatever. So this is, you do this job very well, and your scale knowledge is going to be quite equipped, quite well rounded. Okay. The other reason why I'm trying to teach you scales like this is so that you acknowledge all of them. There are 12 and they exist. Now I can't tell you that one exists. So usually it's easy to teach when we do on C major for people who want to, I don't know why they do C major, because it completely ruins music theory, because you're assigning a level of importance to a scale which the world don't think is important. The composers don't think C major is important. It's the teachers who think C major is important. And then the books think C major is important, and everyone's happy from there, you know. And the teachers carry on. Like the old teachers would say C, and now even the YouTube teachers are saying C. Music starts with C. There's no end to it. But when you actually write down or transcribe a song, let's say Fix You by Coldplay, if you're trying to play that, first of all, they've chosen the E flat major scale, which is right. E flats. And so on. The latest song released by Miley Cyrus and Dua Lipa, for instance, is on the key of F sharp major. She plays it on this scale. Elton John likes F. Nora Jones likes E flat. All guitar players love E and G and D. What is the scale which guitar players don't actually like? C major. So that's why I say it's a dicey subject. So learn all 12 and enjoy all 12, and slowly but surely get better at all 12. So before I give you the homework melodies, let's try and learn a few more other scales. Number one, I want to share. And the other thing I want to do is look at intervals, how we can use these notes, what the notes mean. Like, let's not just write them down, play them up and down, play some Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We have to do more. And more is we have to make our own songs using that. So let's also deal with those two aspects now. I'm going to teach you one more scale. Maybe actually two more. The minor scale.
Jason, a question before that.
Yes.
So when most of the songs they are written in only one scale. So let's say I'm talking about major scale songs. They might be of different scale in terms of the root note. Some might be with F major scale, some might be in C major scale. But just a question out of curiosity, why do we have to learn all the 12 scales in major? Why can't we just learn only C scale and then use the transpose pitch function of the piano and then...
Yeah, that's an excellent question. However, I've been asked that question since 2008 when I started teaching. Every year I'll get this question asked about 20 times in one calendar year. So now you are probably the 20th guy since the year is ending. But anyway, so usually I used to try and be a bit clever and all that. Now I prefer to be a bit humorous using just simple common sense. If your app, let's call it an app, because any piano which has all this transpose function, that's nothing great. It's just using MIDI to take what you're pressing and make it send different data to the to the brain or to the data processing unit. So if you are playing C and if you hit transpose, the computer is doing the music for you. The computer is making it into B flat. If you do C minus 2 or if you do C plus 3, that's going to end up being E flat. Now you may argue that all songs could be played on C major with either the transpose button, you press the thing, or on a guitar you have things like the capo or the cap, which allows you to move. But then you can't move down, you can only move up and the sound changes. So most guitar players use the capo to change the vibe, change the sound, to make the guitar sound more like a ukulele a little bit. A lot of John Mayer songs, he uses the capo because of how he wants it to sound like. Now, for a pianist using a transpose button, the challenge will be something positive actually, because in 2-3 years time you'll start knowing these notes, like you see that I sang A, I wanted it, I don't even have to say A, I know where to find it, I know it's A, I know how to sing A, right? So it's sort of like a curse, but a good curse, because it's there, it's inside you. So the pitches will start getting more and more perfect and more relative from one to the other, and then absolute chaos will start dealing with your brain will go through absolute chaos. So what has happened to me and a few musicians as well, I've actually gone on stage, hit the transpose button because the singer said that my voice is hurting, so please do it lower. So instead of relearning all the songs, we just moved it down, and that I failed a few shows, but that was my biggest failure because I already knew the notes. So when I'm playing C, I'm hearing B flat. And does this happen to all musicians? Yes, it will happen to you, but after 3-4 years. Will you care now? No. So what are you going to do? So this is the problem with the hotel players. The hotel players don't care about composing. They don't care about anything. Or the music producers, the DJs, the electronic artists, they don't care. They just want to import loops and all that stuff into Logic and play around with that. So their ears are horrible. It will never get good. However, an electronic musician's rhythmic ear may get good. Their harmonic ear is going to be absolute nonsense generally if you practice with all this transposing, and nowadays you have apps also for it which do all this. So the question now is, why do you want to do all that when music is for you, the human, as well as other humans? Why do you want to simplify the process? There is no way to simplify music. There is absolutely no way. The only way is to work hard at it and see the rewards later. So if you're playing a song on one scale, you could manage. Maybe you could press C, but it will sound like D flat or whatever. But in 2-3 years time, you'll have a lot of problems. You will have shows malfunctioning. You will be lost because two sense organs are in a war with each other. The eye and the ear. They are having a war. The eye is seeing nonsense and the ear is processing sense. Right? Now your ear doesn't care. Your eye cares. So that's the thing. So when your ear starts catching up, like a tortoise, racing a hare, eventually it will catch up. Your ears will absolutely kill your eyes for music. So all instruments don't really need eyes. Of course, we have them. It's important that we use them. But music needs the ear. It doesn't need the eyes. Right? You can play the most complicated instruments like the sitar without your eyes. You can play. It's manageable. There are so many people who don't even have eyes. Like Stevie Wonder is a blind pianist. Okay? And there's another problem for only piano players to not do all this transpose nonsense. It's like saying Rahul Dravid, why do we call Rahul Dravid great? Is it because he can score centuries in Bengaluru or in Kolkata, or is it because he's scored centuries in England where the ball swings? Or is it because he can score centuries in Australia where the ball bounces and almost hits your head? Or is it because he scored centuries in the West Indies where the pitches are very weird and wobbly after day 5 of a test match, or during day 4 or day 5 of a test match? Why do we call him great? Because he's played and he's scored on all those grounds, on all those surfaces. And that's what makes a sportsman great. Why do you think tennis players play on 4 courts? Right? Because it makes tennis exciting. Why is cricket played in all these different things? Because it makes cricket exciting. So what is, for me, if you ask me, why do I hate T20 cricket? Because the pitch is thrown away. Like they don't care about the wicket. They only care about hitting runs and all that. So test match cricket, the pitch comes into play, right? So the way you play really matters. So that's how I compare it with scales on a guitar or piano or the trumpet. Why we need to learn all 12 is otherwise you're just going to be a cricketer who's only able to score centuries in your own backyard. You won't get to play with other people. You won't be acknowledged. You won't be able to change one scale to the other, right? And your performance will dip. And the beauty of scales is E flat feels and gives you certain music, and F major gives you certain music which E flat or C major will never give you. So why do people never write on C major? Not that they can't, but they like these scales not only for the technicality but for the musicality. Like the way E flat feels on your fingers when you play your instrument gives you natural patterns which are unique only to that scale. Will you be able to replicate it on other scales? Maybe, but it's more natural on E flat. So we play on E flat, right? So that's why we learn all the 12. It's important to learn all the 12. Now, especially when we are coming to a school like this, a school environment is, we have to do everything. You can't make life easy. There is nothing here is easy. You have a lot of work to do now. You have to do Twinkle on 12 scales. That is not easy. But if you do that, if I give you another tune, or if your friend gives you another tune, and if that tune's on G major, I'm sure you're not going to be scared with that process, right? Your friend says, see, I have a tune, it's on G. Can you, I don't know what to do. I want this now to be on E major. Can you help me out? You can do that. Because you did Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on not one scale, on all the 12. And why are we doing this? Because there's nothing easy or difficult. C major is there, let it be there. B flat major is there, let that also be there. And more on this in the piano class for pianists, where I'll actually show you why C major is one of the most useless scales to play on the piano. Anyway, so coming to the natural minor scale, we do 1, 2, 3 flat. Some of us in India will say Ga Komal or Komal Ga. 1, 2, 3 flat, 4, 5, 6, 7 flat. Oh, sorry, one more flat. So this is how you build a minor scale given a major scale. So now let's break this maths down. You've already done A major. What is that? Now we wish to do A minor. How does one do A minor? Can anyone help me out with the notes? Obviously, we don't do anything to all the notes other than the 3, the 6 and the 7. The 1, the 2, the 4, the 5 remain identically the same. You don't touch it. So let's finish that. A, B, D, E. So what we need to change is this thing, and this thing. So what do we mean by flattening? Flattening means just going down a step or going down a semitone from your note circle. Can you help me out now? What happens when C sharp gets flattened? You don't write C flat. You have to...
It becomes C.
Yeah, C. C sharp comes down to our C. So that's A minor. Oh, sorry, we've not finished A minor. Moving on. What happens to F sharp?
F.
Who? Becomes F.
Yeah.
And what happens to G sharp?
G.
G. Yeah. So this is your A minor scale. Let me present the scale, keeping the sa in the bass. Then I'll populate the notes in the right hand. this is A major. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. Okay, and now what about A minor? A major. So for instance, if we go back to our earlier melodic assignment where I requested you to do this one, agreed. Now you have to do Twinkle, and now I'm like, don't do Twinkle Twinkle. Okay, you've done Twinkle on all the major scales. Awesome, great job. What if I want to make this minor? Can someone tell me the melody on minor? Minor melody. So consider the 3, the 6 and the 7. That has been altered. Twinkle is now on a major scale. I want to change Twinkle to minor, not to some other major scale. Any thoughts? Think? Anyone? Don't worry if you're wrong, guys. Anyone can answer. Feel free. I'm seeing the same people answering.
The 6 notes and the 3 notes were fine.
So tell me the whole. See, the thing is, a lot of you whose videos are off, y'all are not also y'all are also not answering and talking. People whose videos are on are talking. So I don't know whether you learn properly with the video off. We found that it works a lot better if the video is on. Unless you're having some other issues, please put on the video. You can learn a lot better and you will be a lot more involved in the class. And also I'll see your face and I can ask you questions. The other people, how am I going to see so many people? I'm obviously going to give preference to people whose videos are on. It's just common sense because I'm using my eyes. Okay, Atul? Atul has said anyone?
Yeah, it will
How
be
do I
A.
make this minor?
Sorry, A.
Forget A. I want the general world.
So can I?
Yeah.
It will be 1 1 4 5
1 1
4.
No, why? I want it to be Twinkle Twinkle Little Star only. So 1 1 5 5. But I want a little adjustment with the 6. What is the little adjustment we do? Remember in minor 3, 6 and 7 are flat. So you do the little adjustment here.
Okay.
1 1 5 5 6 flat 6 flat 5. Then what happens? Next line 4 4
3 flat 2 2 1.
Perfect. So let's see how this sounds. This is the original. These notes. Now we'll convert it. See, A, E, E. Instead of F sharp there, I'm doing that. Agreed? So right? You can finish the song also, it's fun. Now here's the fun part. I've written this in numbers. Agreed. Where are the numbers going to help? Now, what is number 1 now? It's A. So it's A minor. What if I say number 1 should be C? Can anyone help me out now? What will be the notes?
So I have a doubt.
C minor.
Yeah, can we do your doubt after someone says C minor, or you want to ask the doubt now?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, who said C minor? Awesome.
It's
Very good. Can you help us out? The melody on C minor.
yeah.
So same story, isn't it? 1155.
Yeah. Okay. Just
Tell. Yeah. Melody. Notes, guys, fast. Tell me the twinkle melody on C minor.
C C G C C, then G flat, G flat, A
Hey, no, no,
flat,
no.
A flat.
Why G flat? G is not messed up. G is normal G. However, it used to be for C major scale, no?
Sorry, okay, I got it wrong.
Ah, continue.
Yeah, C C G G, A flat, G.
Yes, proceed.
Then F F, E flat, D D C.
Yeah, so let's play that on the keyboard app or something. This is obviously the wrong melody. Why? Because my instruction is clear. I want to play it on C minor. Right? So that's scaled. That's the scale. Okay. So what if we take this melody? Let's just do one more melody so that everyone understands. I'm going to give you this tune. And whenever I write one like that, I mean the higher one. Okay. Yeah, so I'd like you people steps. Let's look at the steps of it. It's like a little assignment which I want you to do now only in the class. So first is write minor version. Minor also we feel that it's more sad, isn't it? Creates a more sadder opportunity. So you write the minor version and then play the respective melody on two scales. I would say A major, which you all guys already know, and C minor. Now you kind of know. So execute whatever this tune is. Don't tell, even if you know, don't tell. Let everyone do. So you'll have to do a little bit of writing work, I guess. First, write down what changes in minor, no? 6 flat, 7 flat, and whatnot. Rewrite it in the general form. I could have also written swaras. I could have written whatever, saregamapa. I'm just writing with numbers because numbers are a bit more clear at this stage for a lot of you who have never dealt with swaras before. Which is numbers are also more than fine. So fair enough. This is your tune. Write the minor version and then write the tune on A and on C minor scale and play the tune and let's see how it sounds. Quick, this is a quick challenge. Oh, you already got it. Very clever. Now play it and enjoy and annoy some.
I'm still stuck with. Actually,
So
I
the
couldn't.
bass is in C, is it? The 5565. I should think of it in C first, C major
No,
first,
what
and
is the
then make it
5
minor.
of A major? First, let's do it on A major. What is the 5 of A?
E,
Yeah, good. Excellent. So E becomes your first note. What is the 5 of C?
G,
Perfect. So now you know your starting note, isn't it? Okay. I hope I've answered the question. I think I still didn't answer Uma's question. Was that your question?
Yes, I think I need to start with A rather than C. I got the answer.
Yeah. Let's do A major, then we'll do C minor. So first write and then play. Very important when we learn theory, write and then do whatever it is you want. But start by writing. And don't take any shortcuts while writing. You see, even I'm not assuming anything. I'm handwriting everything which I'm telling you people. Not only for me as a teacher, also for me as a continuing student. I'm also learning music as well. I just happen to be teaching you. So when we learn theory, we need to write a ton of stuff. You'll have to fill up a 200-page notebook over 4 months. Very important. So once you're done with writing, we'll write down the tune on A and then C minor. Hopefully you also played it, so you kind of know what the thing is. It's just some random melody which I've written. I don't know. There's no plan. Some of you seem to be thinking it's familiar. I don't know
So,
how this can be familiar.
so can I just move it to the previous page? Actually, I'm stuck with that. So just wanted to.
This sounds like happy birthday.
Can't be. I composed it now. How can it be happy birthday? Okay, whatever the tune is, you have to tell me the notes and play me the answer. Don't tell me the name of the song and all that. Play everything.
So,
Yeah.
actually, the thing is, like in the natural minor, you're saying like the third and sixth and the seventh, those will be the flat, right?
Yeah.
So, like when we come down here, like it's for 1 1 5 5 6 6 5. So, means as per means what? So, if you could explain, because I am thinking rather converting like the six flat, it wouldn't it have been like six flat and fifth flat?
Who said fifth flat? The formula states that there's nothing to do with the
No, sir,
five.
not that. I'm saying like when we come down here, like 1 1 5 5 6 6 5, whatever it is written.
This one.
Yeah, that one.
So
that when we keep it to the minor thing,
yeah,
it will be like
yeah,
means the third, fifth, and sixth.
yeah. The third, the sixth, and the seventh. Who
Okay,
said?
third, sixth, and seventh. Third, sixth, and seventh.
Yeah.
Um,
The third, sixth, and seventh of the respective major scale, the
Okay.
namesake major scale. So if you're building A major,
Okay.
A minor, since we've already done A major correctly,
Yeah.
A minor easily we can get by retaining some notes of A major and altering these ones, which
Yeah.
I circled. Which one have I circled? The three,
Three.
this thing,
Sixth and seventh. Yeah.
seventh, yeah. And thus I have to change the tune. Twinkle was here, now it became here. Then when we played it, you saw how different it sounded. Why did it sound
Yeah.
different? Even though the sa was the same, the root was the same. Why does it sound different? Because of the flat 6, flat 3, and even flat 7, which is not there in this song.
Okay. Yeah.
And now we are requesting you to do a new melody. This is a completely new melody.
Okay.
Sir, can I say?
Yeah, please. So in a new page, we are going to write the tune which Komali says on A what? A major, no?
Yeah.
Start. Yeah.
E, E, F.
No, not F. Isn't it F sharp?
F sharp actually.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Ah. Keep going.
One minute. Okay. E, F sharp, E, A higher,
Yeah.
and G sharp.
Yeah. So what are we trying to do now? Papa dha pa sa ni. I said it with swaras, isn't it? But it's numbers. Papa dha pa sa ni. Pa is number 5. The is number 6. Of course, we repeat the pa. Then we do the higher sa and then the ni. And now can you do the next line?
E, F sharp, E. I think it's B higher and A higher.
Super. What will that be with swaras? Papa, the, pa, higher re and higher sa. Next.
E, higher D sharp.
Mean higher E only.
Okay. Yeah, higher E.
Yeah.
C,
You mean
A
C.
higher.
Not C. There is no C in the A major scale. You have to say C sharp.
Sorry.
Yeah. Continue.
A higher.
Say the whole line, please.
Okay. A higher, G sharp, F sharp.
No, this line, can you just tell the whole line once so we don't get confused?
Okay. E higher.
Yeah.
C sharp, A higher, G sharp, F sharp.
Awesome. Perfect. And with swaras, again, pa, higher pa. Then we have a ga coming our way.
Sa, ni,
dha.
dha.
Okay. And then?
And D,
Nah.
C, A, B, A.
Again, now why is saying C? You should be
C
telling
sharp.
C.
Yeah.
D, C sharp,
C
A.
sharp, A, B, A.
Awesome. What are the swaras? Anyone?
Mama ga sarisa.
Mama ga sa ri sa. Okay, so we've done the melody on A major, I guess. Have you played it, anyone?
Yeah, it sounds like happy birthday only for me actually.
Let's just play it and check it out. Isn't it actually happy birthday? See, finally he ends on the sa, but he's rarely even played the sa, right? So to a lot of people think that this E is the sa. E is not the sa. So please understand a few myths. A lot of teachers sometimes keep telling that the first, I have watched a few YouTube things. I've always thought that the old school teachers who do some nonsense here and there, only they have this principle that they'll tell things like first note in any song has to be sa. I mean, what nonsense is that? You have happy birthday. You sing this every day and the first note is not sa. It's a pa. So the first note can be anything, but the whole feeling, the whole vibe is A major. To prove it, I'm playing A. Now if I had played E, does it sound quite annoying? I don't know. Now imagine playing a note which is not even in this scale, like let's say E flat. Yeah, this is where we'll start having serious problems with our neighbors. Okay, so now after A major, we have to deliver the whole song on C minor. Now you may argue, why have we chosen a C minor? We'll answer that question soon. So can anyone tell us the C minor happy birthday? Happy
Can I tell?
birthday. Ah,
G G A flat G,
yeah,
C higher B flat.
perfect. Yeah,
Then second line G G A flat G, D higher C higher.
super.
Then third line G G G higher,
Yeah,
E flat C higher, B flat A flat.
yeah,
Then last line is F F E flat C D C.
perfect. Let's see how this sounds. Hang on. Not a bad melody. Actually, I wouldn't mind hearing this version of Happy Birthday for my birthday. I would enjoy this a lot more. Or maybe what if we do a flat 2 also? Okay, that's a bit too extreme. I think we'll stick with minor for now. Okay, so remember, whoever's celebrating their birthday next, I want a minor rendition for whoever that is. Let's see what they do to you. You may need a helmet while
Sounds
playing
like
this version.
some dead person's birth anniversary or something.
Yeah.
On
But
the
I've
minor.
played this version to a lot of people. They've actually enjoyed this a lot more.
Yeah.
Because at least it's creative. Why do we want to hear that same annoying tune over and over again? It's been there for it. Or someone should compose a new birthday song, a new global standard. Okay, so we have done the exercise. I hope you understood the value of the exercise. You can do this to any tune on any scale. And now we've added 2 types of scales, major and minor, isn't it? So it's quite a powerful thing. Or how can you do this if you're composing a melody? It's a great way to convert something from happy to sad instantly. That's it. Sad version,
I
happy
have
version.
a doubt.
Yes, yeah.
On the major scale, we moved like 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1, no?
Yes.
On minor scale, how do we move if we are taking in numbers?
Excellent question. So on the minor scale, if you're taking in numbers, where is that slide? Yeah, here we go. Let's write it down. So I'm going to write 2ST, 1ST, 2ST, 2, 1. Order changes, no? 2 and 2 if you want to go back to the sa. You could remember it like that, or you could just remember it with respect to the major scale. And don't worry about this. The next theory class, I'm going to talk a lot more on intervals. So far, we are just looking at 2 steps and 1 step. Okay. One more scale, guys. Sorry for going on a bit later. It'll just take 5 more minutes max. Okay. So harmonic minor. Since I've written the heading, might as well finish it. Yeah. This is the harmonic minor. Now this is a natural sign. That means it's the major scale 7th. So what was once now it's used a lot more in Eastern music, I guess, or Spanish music, or actually now it's used by everyone. So these 2 are your main minor scales. More on this in the next week or the next class. So just remember, you have 2 varieties of minor, the natural and the harmonic minor. And it's interesting to note that this is actually how many steps? Isn't this 3 steps? This is 3. 1, 2, 3. So just note. So that's what makes it very exciting. Okay. That's pretty much it for now, for the scales. So just to prepare us for the next class, there's just a way we can analyze the scale. So one way, see, we haven't analyzed the scales yet. We've only built it, right? How difficult was it? Not a big deal, right? 2 2 1 2 2 2 1. That's all. Minor had some other formula which we wrote down. So you have a way to build the scales. However, after having built it, you need to remember this by heart. You need to practice it so well that you don't keep staring at your book to play F major every day or D major every day. As we use it, like now you have already written Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right? You've written Happy Birthday, you've written a few. Another thing you could consider doing, I'm going to write down all the homework very shortly. Yeah. Someone has a question, I can hear something. Anyway, no one's talking. Okay. So, in a major scale, let's just analyze the notes a little bit. Analyze means we are trying to say, why is that note there? Earlier, I just told you, play this, play that, touch this, touch that. Now we need to also say why, because musicians, the most important thing with which a musician needs to be is a scientist, right? So you have to question everything. You should not, if I tell you something, you have to make sure that it is proved to be right. It's logically right, right? I may be wrong, any of us could be wrong. So you should never listen to anything from me or anyone else unless you understand why, unless you truly understand everything around that subject, right? So don't go too much by trust. Oh, I am a more experienced guy, so you listen to everything I say. It should not be like that. You should always ask these important questions. Why did he write A major like that? Right? Who told him to write it like that? What does the C sharp mean? What does the D mean? So a lot of this in the next class, which I think will be one of the most interesting classes of our course. But for now, I'll just tell you something to analyze and observe while composing. So I am going to first start by circling the Sa, the Ga and the Pa. Sa, Ga and Pa are considered to be the stable notes. Okay. 1, 3, 5. All the other notes are unstable. So let me show you the pathway, or the general pathway. The Ni wants to go to the Sa at the top. That is also stable. So the Ni is highly unstable. You'll find that if you touch it, it wants to go here. The Dha wants to come here. The Ma wants to come there. This one I am not entirely sure. Some days it wants to come here, some days it wants to come there. So if you visualize scales like this, where 1, 3, 5 are stable, 2, 4, 6, 7 are unstable. The stable ones we call as resolutions. Okay, and an important thing while composing, stable notes, you use it to land, that means to end your tune or end your statement. You can end on any of these stable or resolution. So stable notes are used for landings. Plus, how else can we use them? We can play them longer in duration than the unstable. Play it longer. I wouldn't say play the stable notes louder. That will be a bit too annoying. So whenever you have a stable note, play it longer, and also on what we call as the strong beats. The strong beats in general rock music are considered 1 and 3. Okay, so whenever you're pressing a stable or a strong note, it should be at 1 and 3. And then what do we have to say about the unstable notes? Everything opposite. What do we mean by opposite now? Unstable notes are passing. Their job is to go to the stable notes. And unstable notes generally will obviously be shorter. You don't want them to be that much important, right? And they also tend to land at the weak beats. Now all this is going to be very important when you start learning chords and intervals, because when we learn scales, the last thing which a music student should think is, I am learning scales to build melodies. No, you're learning scales to build music. And music is not just melody. Music is everything. There's chords, there's bass, there's of course the melody, and a lot of other factors. So to prove this, I'll show you a couple of examples, and I would like you to put this all together and compose a melody on a couple of scales of your choice. I'm going to write down the homework very shortly. So just to demonstrate, this is A major. What happens when you play the notes up and down? Well, if you ask me, absolutely nothing. Nothing great happens. No one's going to gain anything. Have you ever heard this as a melody? Or this melody? Quite useless, right? I don't know why people do that. But anyway, so now you go. Okay, let me break that down. I played that first half by ripping off one song, and the second half I don't know what I did. But anyway, see what's happening there? Resolutions. Sa, re, ga. You see the re, we are not pressing it for too long. Sa, re, ga, and it's quicker. These are long. Sa, re, ga, sa, ga, re. Of course, here we change it because the chord has to change. Sa, re, ga, ga, pa, ma, ga, re, ni, sa. See how very quickly I made the ni come to sa. So these unstable notes add color. The stable notes provide context. Your ear needs both. Just like how we build a movie or a story. Story can't just have everyone sitting on a sofa and chilling out. There has to be things which go on. There has to be movement. There has to be a chase sequence. There has to be some drama, some mystery, some chaos. All that needs to be there in all movies. So same thing with music. So we visualize these 7 notes, or rather even the 8th note, this way. And if you start visualizing it this way, once we start doing chords, things will get very, very exciting. And I feel when we learn music, you need to be motivated to learn the music. So you have to find some excitement in all this stuff. You have to be waiting to play the instrument and make a piece of music. You should not mug this stuff up. You cannot mug it up. You can only use it. And the more and more you use it, things help. I am quite lucky because I'm a teacher. So I use it with musicians for recordings and concerts and all that. But I also use it day to day in classes like this. So every time I teach you, even I'm also learning, come to think of it, right? So you guys have to now get involved with A major. How do you get involved with A major? Do many melodies. Do a lot of things on A major. Okay. Let's define the homework and pack up. If you haven't already, I leave the minor scale writing to you. Some. Don't do all. You'll be writing too much. Definitely all my 12 major scales. You have to write all. Major scales, as we know, there's 7 naturals plus 5 flats or sharp scales. It's totally 12. Then
So what is it, right?
all. Okay, play that and the birthday song on this. Just going to give you one more melody for fun. Is writing down some crude symbols. This means that line 1 is over. We move to the next sentence. This is higher 1, lower 7. Okay, I'll also circle notes which should be pressed for longer. Yeah, these are 2 melodies. This is melody 1. This is melody B. Okay, let's just stick with see, we are not meeting next week. We take a break after 3 classes. So also I'd encourage you all, this is not compulsory for all students, but I'd encourage you to all to do this. Compose a melody eight bars minimum melody on a major scale. After you have composed the melody, play it or sing it, up to you. So what am I going to write? Play or sing in 3 major scales. Same melody, it should sound the same. And then I'd like you to play or sing in 3 what? Minor scales. And to make minor scales interesting, remember, how do we do that? We have the flavor of the natural minor and we have the flavor of the harmonic minor. So both these minors are very, very useful. Right, I am just sending this to myself and I'll send you this homework on the WhatsApp chat group. So just follow that. So agreed, homework, write this, play this. Piano players, I'll give you a few more things when we meet in the piano class. This melody A, melody B, you may already know it. Again, very easy. Do that also for fun. And this is going to be very interesting. And when you have to compose, remember what I said at the end of the class. Stable notes, unstable notes. Play around with that. So hopefully all these exercises give you a firm idea into scale usage, scale construction, and more importantly or most importantly, scale enjoyment. Right? So you may be scale writing, scale usage, scale playing, scale all that. At the end of the day, it should be enjoyment. You have to enjoy this stuff. And it's a job. You have to figure out how to enjoy. So the best way to enjoy is to give yourself a challenge. I'm going to make this song and compose a good song. Then I'm going to play this song on 3-4 scales, major, minor. Let's see how happy birthday sounds, happy versus sad. Have some fun with that. Like, enjoy it. Everything the end result of all music study is enjoyment, right? You're doing it after you do the final job, you should enjoy it. Like, so you need to work hard also to a point that after you've created everything, you hear it back on a cell phone recording and you enjoy and you're proud of it. You want to share it with your friends, family, and all that. So that's an important culture. Whether you are a kind of laid back, closed circle person, or whether you like to share things on the internet or whatever, doesn't matter. The process is the same. You have to enjoy. So work hard, and then you will enjoy it later for sure, because hard work is, after you finish the hard work, it's a lot of fun. You all know that, right? Either you won a match of football, or you finished a really long enduring activity. While you do it, it's a lot of work. And also when you improvise and compose, it's great to take breaks. There's no problem in taking a few breaks and giving it a rest. Things are stressing you out. The moment it stresses you out, stop. That's my solution for anything. Don't push or struggle. Stop. You always have the next morning. And stress is also a very scientific thing. Stress is where we are trying to control our subconscious brain. Like, our subconscious brain needs its time. It needs you to sleep, relax, do something else, watch a movie, play with your dog, whatever you want to do. And then you'll never know, the next morning, whatever you were trying to do the previous night or whatever, just comes, just happens. So the main thing is consistency and enjoyment. Like, you have to enjoy the work. Never at any way be stressed out about this job. It is a lot of work. It's true that you have to work really hard, do all these assignments, but don't stress out over it. Like, you have to plan. Time management is also very important. 1 hour, where are you going to give me 1 hour to practice music daily? When is that 1 hour? Are you going to divide it morning, some half an hour, night time maybe half an hour? I don't know. What is your off day? See, the good thing about planning is there's a lot of freedom also. You don't have to practice 6-7 days a week. Then you'll burn out. So just do 5 days, take 2 days off, forget about music for 2 days. So if you work hard for 5 days or even 6 days, don't do anything on the 7th day. In fact, you should force yourself to not do anything, because the thing is, you'll burn out. So with music, it's consistency. You have to do this for years and years. Like, you should never stop. That's the thing. Music is not a bungee jump which you do and tick. You have to just keep doing it. And all of us are lucky to be able to do music. That itself is a quite a nice thing, to be able to have a room, to have a keyboard, something next to us, around us, or a drum kit or whatever. So we have this opportunity. You should use it, right? So it's the discipline comes from you. So all the best. I'll see you guys the week after next, and look out for the post which we do on Sundays, which is tomorrow, and just see if there are any doubts regarding that. Awesome.